The Qur'an, which is the holy book of the Muslims, has been the focus of many scholars for centuries because it contains a lot of information about the human race. There are quite a lot of verses in it that describe natural and scientific phenomena, which were even revealed by modern science thousands of years after the appearance of the Qur'an. So, how is it possible that a book that exists more than 1400 years ago has such accurate information and what has been revealed in it? To answer that, this time we will go through the verses of the Qur'an that have been scientifically proven true. As we already know, if the Big Bang event has been believed to be an event that caused the formation of the universe, in theory, it is explained that the universe that we know today actually originates from a single point with infinite heat and density, where this single point grows and expands at an unexpected speed in 13.8 billion years and continues to develop into the universe that we know today. The Big Bang Theory was discovered in 1931 by George Lemaitre, a Roman Catholic pastor as well as a physicist whose discovery was based on the development of other theories before, especially the theory presented in 1922 by a Russian cosmologist and mathematician named Alexander Friedmann, who found a solution for the general relativity field of Albert Einstein, who stated that the universe was developing. Einstein also conducted field studies that presented that the universe was a growing force like a balloon. But before the Big Bang Theory appeared, many people still believed that the universe did not have a creator and already existed without a creator process. Interestingly, the Big Bang Theory and the phenomenon of the creation of the universe itself has been mentioned in the Qur'an long before the Big Bang Theory emerged.
أَوَلَمْ يَرَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا أَنَّ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضَ كَانَتَا رَتْقًا فَفَتَقْنَاهُمَا وَجَعَلْنَا مِنَ الْمَاءِ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ حَيٍّ أَفَلَا يُؤْمِنُونَ.
The explanation is in Surah Al-Anbiya, verse 30, which has meaning. And do the disbelievers not know that the heaven and the earth were first united? Then we separate the two, and we make everything that lives comes from the water. Then why do they not believe? In addition, the Quran also explains in Surah Fussilat, verse 11, which has meaning,
ثُمَّ اسْتَوَى إِلَى السَّمَاءِ وَهِيَ دُخَانٌ فَقَالَ لَهَا وَلِلْأَرْضِ ائْتِيَا طَوْعًا أَوْ كَرْهًا قَالَتَا أَتَيْنَا طَائِعِينَ.
Then he went up to the sky, and the sky was still like smoke. Then he said to him and to the earth, "Come, you two, according to my command, by force or force." Both answered, "We come by force." Surah Fussilat, verse 11, has explained the science of modern cosmology, which was only discovered hundreds of centuries later. The complete explanation can be found in the book entitled The First 3 Minutes, a modern view of the origin of the universe by Steven Weinberg, a well-known physicist, Nobel Prize winner, who published this scientific work in 1977. In his book, Weinberg writes that the science of modern cosmology, both observational and theoretical, clearly shows that at one time, the entire universe was nothing more than a cloud of smoke with a very dense gas composition and hot and cloudy. The principle of modern cosmology at this time is not neglected, and scientists today can observe the new stars formed from the remains of the smoke, the stars that we see at night, just like the entire universe is in the matter of smoke, which is explained in Surah Fusilat, verse 11. Because the earth and the sky are formed from the same smoke, we can conclude that in the past, the earth and the sky were indeed connected, but with the presence of homogeneous smoke, the earth and the sky finally separated from each other. And that is what is explained in Surah Al-Anbiya, verse 30. Next, we know it as the Big Bang phenomenon. Knowledge in such accuracy may have confused scientists, like what happened to Dr. Alfred Cronin, a world-renowned geologist who became a professor of geology and head of the geology department at the Institute of Geosciences, Johannes Gutenberg University in Mainz, Germany.
I think it is almost impossible that he could have known about things like the common origin of the universe, because scientists have only found out within the last few years with very complicated and advanced technological methods that this is the case. Somebody who did not know something about nuclear physics 1400 years ago could not, I think, be in a position to find out from his own mind, for instance, that the earth and the heavens had the same origin, or many other of the questions that we have discussed here.
In the time of Claudius Ptolemy, who lived around the 2nd century BC, we know the geocentric model that states that the Earth is in the middle of the universe, becoming the center of all planets, as well as the rotating sun around it. This model has dominated the thinking and belief of astronomy for many philosophers and European scientists until 1512, where it was later replaced by the heliocentric theory of Nicholas Copernicus, which states that the sun does not move and is in the middle, while the planets revolve around it. In 1609, a German scientist named Johannes Kepler gave a new theory that states that the planets do not move around the sun, but actually also revolve around it at different speeds. This discovery made many scientists believe that the sun does not move, but with the development of observational technology and modern observations, the belief also changed. The sun and all the planets in the solar system revolve in a line. This means that the sun is not excluded. This has been explained in Al-Anbiya verse 33.
وهو الذي خلق الليل والنهار والشمس والقمر كل في فلك يسبحون.
And it is He who has created the night and the day, the sun and the moon. Each of the two revolve in a line. As well as in Surah Yasin verses 38 to 40, which sound.
والشمس تجري لمستقر لها ذلك تقدير العزيز العليم والقمر قدرناه منازل حتى عاد كالأرجون القديم لا الشمس ينبغي لها أن تدرك القمر ولا الليل سابق النهار وكل في فلك يسبحون.
And the sun moves in its orbit. That is the greatness of the universe, and we have set it for the full moon, so that after reaching the last full moon, it will return to its old form. It is impossible for the sun to get the moon, and the night cannot overtake the day, and each of them rotates around it. What is explained in the Qur'an is scientifically proven that the sun rotates 150 miles per second and rotates around the center of the galaxy in a distance of 225 to 250 million years. The sun takes as much as 200 million years to complete its rotation or rotation. Science has studied and proved that what is written is no longer wrong. Observations of the position of the sun's points or sunspots at a certain time tell us that the sun rotates or rotates in its porosity. But because the sun is formed by gas, the rotation of the sun is not like the rotation of the earth. In certain parts, the sun can rotate faster or slower, but the time and movement are still regulated, so that no matter what, the night cannot overtake the day. In Surah Al-Qiyamah, verses 8 and 9 that sound,
وخسف القمر وجمع الشمس والقمر.
and the moon has lost its light, then the sun and the moon are gathered. It is now depicted as an event of the phenomenon of the movement of the sun and the moon. However, in fact, some interpreters of the Qur'an also mean it as an event that will occur on the Day of Judgment. Verses 8 and 9 of Surah Al-Qiyamah are indeed more metaphorical, because in the previous verse the word of question is mentioned about the Day of Judgment and the eyes that are dazzled by fear.
لا أقسم بيوم القيامة ولا أقسم بنفس اللوامة أيحسب الإنسان أن لن نجمع عظامه بلى قادرين على أن نسوي بنانه بل يريد الإنسان ليفجر أمامه يسأل أيان يوم القيامة فإذا برق البصر.
However, the interpreter also links it to the event of the movement of the moon, where the moon seems to have lost its light, because the shadow of the earth is closed, which may cause a sense of wonder or fear for those who watch it, especially before this phenomenon is understood scientifically. If you look at the NASA website, it is explained that the movement can occur when a planet or moon blocks sunlight. On Earth, we can experience two types of events, namely the event of the sun and the event of the moon. The explanation of science distinguishes the two. The event of the sun will occur when the moon blocks the sun's light and causes its shadow on the earth. It means that on the day of the day, the moon moves to cover the sun and there is darkness. While the event of the moon occurs when the earth blocks the sun's light, which is about the moon, this event occurs at night, which makes the full moon fade because the shadow of the earth covers it. Or it can also make the moon look red because the atmosphere of the earth absorbs other colors while turning some of the sunlight towards the moon. When the event of the sun occurred on October 14, 2023, Dr. Keith Russo, a writer and psychologist, led the first study to capture the physical reaction to the event by measuring the human physiological response during the event. One of the unexpected findings, among others, is the emergence of amazement at various stages throughout the event. According to a journal published by Dr. Russo, shortly after the event, The increase in intrafixia was shown by brain waves with high amplitude and low frequency, which is usually seen in deep experiences or in other thoughts. National Geographic also spoke to Dr. Russo with a unique finding in their report. The content states that those who are on the path of totality when the moon covers the full sun often report strong emotional explosions and prolonged amazement. The increasing state of emotion has the power to do more than just open us to the miracles of the universe. Scientists say this can make us feel more curious and connected to other people inside it. However, what Dr. Russo studied about the psychological experience of humans in witnessing the event has actually been said by Prophet Muhammad thousands of years ago. The story of the hadith is considered authentic and narrated by al-Bukhari in the book of Al-Ghusuf, which contains a sound. The sun and the moon are two signs among the signs of Allah's power, and both do not cause an event because someone's life is dead, but Allah makes His servants fascinated by both. A companion also narrated in the Hadith Sahih al-Bukhari in the same book that when there is a solar eclipse, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ feels afraid that the doomsday will come. He went to the mosque and led the prayer in congregation with the longest standing, bowing and prostration ever seen. After the prayer, Prophet Muhammad delivered a sermon to his congregation. The sermon was narrated in the book of Al-Ghusuf by al-Bukhari, where Prophet Muhammad said, "The sun and the moon are two signs among the signs of Allah's power. They do not cause an event because someone's life is dead. So if you see an event, remember Allah, praise His greatness, perform prayer and give charity."
ألم تر أن الله يزجي ذهبا ثم يؤلف بينه ثم يجعله ركاما فترى الودق يخرج من خلاله وينزل من السماء من جبال فيها من برد فيصيب به من يشاء ويصرفه عن من يشاء يكاد سنا برقه يذهب بالأبصار.
Don't you see that Allah makes the clouds move slowly? Then He gathers them. Then He makes them pile up. Then you see the rain coming out of the clouds. And He also brings down the particles of ice from the sky, that is, from the clumps of clouds like mountains. Then He throws the particles of ice to whoever He wills, and He releases it from whoever He wills. The rays almost disappear. Research that has been done by scientists seems to be in accordance with what is written in the Qur'an. In the book The Physics of Clouds by B.G. Mason, for example, has discussed the same detail but through the explanation of the physical process to describe the formation of clouds and rain. From what was written by Mason, he explains the basic process of cloud formation, including the condensation of water vapors in the atmosphere, the formation of the essence of cloud condensation, and the factors that affect the growth of cloud droplets. In addition, Mason also discusses the theory of rain formation, including the process of condensation, which involves the interaction between water droplets and ice crystals in the cloud, as well as the process of coalescence in warm clouds. This book by B.G. Mason includes a very technical classic book and is indeed intended for readers with a background in physics and mathematics, as well as a basic understanding of meteorology. In some of the last particles of verse 43 of Surat An-Nur, man is asserted that Allah has power over the rain to anyone he desires or not. Rain is a mercy and blessing from Allah, which is stated in Surah An-Nahl, verse 10.
وَالَّذِي أَنزَلَ مِنَ السَّمَاءِ مَاءً لَكُم منه شراب ومنه شجر فيه تسيمون.
It is He who has brought down rainwater from the sky for you, some of it as a drink, and some of it as a fertilizer that you use to fertilize your livestock. Related to rain and water, the Qur'an also explains to man about the cycle of rainwater in Surah Az-Zumar verse 21.
أَلَمْ تَرَ أَنَّ اللَّهَ أَنزَلَ مِنَ السَّمَاءِ مَاءً فَسَلَكَهُ يَنَابِيعَ فِي الْأَرْضِ ثُمَّ يخرج به زرعا مختلفا ألوانه ثم يحيج فتراه مصفرا ثم يجعله هطاما إن في ذلك لذكرى لأولي الألباب.
Don't you notice that Allah brought down rainwater from the sky, and then He arranged it to be a source of water on earth, and then with that water, He planted various kinds of plants of its color, and then it became dry, and then you saw it yellowish, and then it was destroyed into pieces. Indeed, and that is a lesson for people who have common sense. Although not so detailed, this is our beginning to understand the cycle of water, which is a cycle of evaporation that controls the water distribution system on Earth. In this cycle, the journey of water is described starting when the water molecules move from the surface of the Earth to the atmosphere and back again, in several cases below the surface. This giant cycle, powered by solar energy, was only discovered by modern scientists about 100 years ago. However, again, the Quran explains it scientifically, all the facts related to the cycle of water and the fall of rain. Surat Az-Zumar verse 21 also explains that Allah brought down rainwater that came down from the sky through the earth and appeared as a source of water, which produced various colorful plants that eventually turned yellow. This dry growth will be the dry and damaged part that can turn into oil in hundreds of years, which of course will be another benefit for human life. Not only Az-Zumar, which contains illustrations and explanations about the cycle of water, some verses in the Quran also explain in detail about the journey of water in the cycle of water that has now been proven true through scientific research carried out by modern researchers today, such as Surat An-Naba. 30:16.
جعلنا سراجا وهاجا وأنزلنا من المعصرات ماء ثجاجا لنخرج به حبا ونباتا وجنات ألفافا.
And we will make it a bright cloud, and we will bring down from the clouds the rainwater that is scattered with its greatness, for we will grow it with the water of the seeds and plants, and the gardens of the vineyards. This verse explains how the sun, which makes the clouds shine with an extraordinary heat as a driver of the cycle of rainwater, because its function can spread the heat and light needed to evaporate the water in the cycle of water, as well as explain the form of the wind. Next, in Surat Al-Hijr, verse 2, the movement of the second cycle of water is explained, which is the wind.
وأرسلنا الرياح لواقع فأنزلنا من السماء ماء فأسقيناكموه وما أنتم له بخازنين.
The role of the wind here is important because without the wind playing a role in increasing the speed of the change of liquid water into water vapor in the air, then the cycle of water will not work as it should. In addition, it is emphasized by Allah in the same verse that after evaporating, water will grow in the form of a cloud, which is then fertilized by the wind, which results in the rain from the sky, which can provide great benefits for human life on earth. Surat Al-Hijr, verse 22, also explains that Allah is the only one who has the power to store water. Every water that falls when it rains will be stored for a long time on earth. But with the grace of Allah, the water stored on earth will not be damaged even if it is stored for hundreds of years. Meanwhile, if we store water for a few days, it can be damaged because it is actually not its owner. In verse 22 in Surat Al-Hijr, Allah has explained that after evaporating, water will grow in the form of a cloud, which is then fertilized by the wind, which results in the rain from the sky, which can provide great benefits for human life on earth.